how do you think the Vikings fare against the Lions? Let's maybe focus offensively and defensively for a minute. And before we even get into that, we can kind of just, say out loud the obvious thing. Aiden Hutchinson sustained a really gruesome leg injury. Had surgery in Dallas after the game last night. They played just yesterday as we're recording on Monday night. So the Lions will be without one of their best defensive players. Not that we're licking our chops over that. We definitely are. We're sad for Aiden Hutchinson and the Lions that way. You don't like to see a guy go down, especially with an injury like that. That was pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it was awful, and he knew the second it happened too. Like I said in the TikTok, I don't know how you wouldn't know the second you break your leg, but man, he knew it was a big injury right away.
But this Lions team is still a force to be reckoned with. They put up 49 points or more than that? I can't even remember.
Oh yeah, they've been dominating in the last couple of weeks or a couple of games.
They've put up 80 something points in the last two games against the Seahawks and then the Cowboys yesterday. They're a force to be reckoned with. They're a really good team. I would say they're up there in terms of the best team in the NFC North. I mean, I would put them up there with the Vikings. I think the Vikings are slightly better, but I think the Lions are right there. This is going to be one of the best games in the NFL in Week 7.
Oh, yeah.
I think I saw some stuff that on Twitter people were like, can we flex the Vikings-Lions game to the Sunday night or the Monday night window? Is it too late for that? And yes, I think it is too late for that. I don't know that they'll flex this game. I think it'll remain a noon game on Sunday. But
also, they don't flex until
they don't flex until
season.
Way later. Yeah. But I mean, this is certainly a deserving candidate of a game to be flexed if they were willing to do something like that, because this is kind of a historic matchup. I don't think the Vikings or the Lions have been this good and facing each other in like our lifetime almost. It's kind of crazy how good both of these teams are. It's usually one or the other. Either the Lions are good or the Vikings are good. Typically, it's been the Vikings. Come on.
It's usually the Lions. Our entire life, the Lions have not been great.
Yes.
And even Lions, we're not talking crap. Lions fans they've got to know, like, the last 30-something years, they haven't been great. So it's typically just been a doormat. Sure, in our lifetime, have the Lions won their fair share of games against the Vikings? I don't know the exact stats,
flashes,
but I'm sure they've beaten the Vikings in Minnesota and Detroit, and a handful of times in the last 30 years. They play each other twice a year. But yeah, it's usually been the Lions finishing 4th or 3rd in the NFC North, outside of a few random years. But yeah, this will be a good game. It should be the quote America's game of the week. Although marketing wise, they usually reserve that title for one of the 3:00 games. It's funny because...
And the Cowboys.
So this is the game... Yeah, exactly. This is the one game this season probably I'm going to get to go to.
Yeah.
And I'm taking, my wife, 3 kids, bought 5 tickets to this game. Nosebleed. We're sitting way high. But at the time, face value of the tickets were $100, and we bought this, before the season started. I just know my kids are getting older. They want to go to a game, and I want to share that with them. But the last week or so, I've been getting notifications from Ticketmaster.
I bet the resale value's gone emails way up.
Well, I kind of looked at it a couple of weeks ago, like, man. Well, I mostly looked at ticket prices to see, like, okay, maybe the Skol Hop could go on a trip to a late season game to see, maybe there's a team they play at the end of the year that isn't good. That quickly was not going to happen. These tickets are very expensive, and for good reason. These teams are good, but I then looked at this coming game, the Lions-Vikings game, and tickets are not cheap again. I think Ticketmaster is very much trying to get me to sell my tickets, because then they get the money from the fees and stuff too. But I spent $100 a pop on these tickets. I think I could easily sell them for $250 a pop. Yeah, and we are not, like, we're in the 300s. We're up high.
I was gonna say, I bet you easily could double your money.
Oh yeah,
easily.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely
crazy.
I'm not going to. I think it would have to be like like a ridiculous amount of money per ticket for me to consider selling them. But at this point, no, my kids are excited. I'm excited. It's going to be a good game, hopefully, and hopefully it won't be the Vikings' first loss.
Keys to victory. What do you think? While you're sitting up in the bleachers and I'm going to have to sit at home and watch it on TV.
Well, we'll still be texting the whole time like we always do if we're not together. For me, it's, first and foremost, the fun stat, the KOC stat is turnovers.
Yep.
What is he, 22-0 right now when he ties or wins the turnover battle?
Yep.
That's step one. Step two, this Lions offense is no joke. I mean, they're good. They're doing the right thing. They may be the best offense the Vikings will face up to this point. The 49ers are pretty good, but even in that 49ers game, McCaffrey wasn't playing. I think this Lions offense will give the Vikings defense the biggest fits they'll see all season. And what I said earlier, the Vikings have to be done with this mid-game slump stuff. They have to stop trying to manipulate the clock or whatever they're trying to do. Whatever they're doing to slow down or even disappear in the middle of the game, cut it out. Like, just stop. Just try to score every single play because the offense is good enough. You just spent a few minutes talking about all the weapons and the coaches, and Sam Darnold obviously is capable of doing the things. Just do the things. Just go for it on fourth down if you need to. Just don't ever give up because the Lions will never give up.
Kevin O'Connell has to have that Dan Campbell mentality. Dan Campbell goes for it on fourth down more than any other coach. Dan Campbell is the one putting backup offensive linemen in and reporting as eligible receivers and trying to get them touchdowns when they were up by a bunch.
That's such a weird thing too.
It was weird, but it's also kind of all right, I don't remember if I saw it on Twitter or what. I don't know. I see a lot of stuff throughout the day, but I saw something today that was like, unless you're playing peewee football, you don't let up.
Yeah.
There is no mercy rule. There is no you're a professional. If you get beat 70 whatever to nothing, that's your own fault. This is professional football. There's no let your foot off the gas. I think it was the Falcons coach a couple of years ago that got really mad when some other team tried to run up the score on him, and he kind of notoriously kind of shoved the other coach in the post game.
Didn't need to do that.
Handshake, whatever. And no, this is the big leagues. These are big boys playing for big dollars. We just watched a guy got his helmet ripped off.
Damar Hamlin just completed a tackle, but his helmet popped off too. He looks okay.
Yeah, this is the NFL. I'm sorry, there is none of that. This doesn't occur in that league. So to some extent, I kind of admire Dan Campbell as a coach.
Oh yeah, I don't know how you can hate Dan Campbell as a coach, and I don't know everything about him. Maybe he's a terrible person. I have no reason to believe he's a terrible person. But as a coach, I can totally believe when players want to run through a brick wall for him. I mean, you just look at his introductory press conference where he said something like, "We're gonna bite off your kneecap and bite off your other kneecap and take a hunk out of you," and I'm sure that plays very well in the locker room, and obviously the Lions have been one of the better teams in the league this season, last season, most of the last half of the season before. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think that's honestly one of the keys to victory for me is Kevin O'Connell needs to be aggressive.
Yeah.
There are going to be times where he's going to be faced with, do I punt it? Do I try to kick a 58-yard field goal with will to thrill, or do I try to go for it on 4th and 3 or whatever? Go for it. Go for it. You have Aaron Jones. You have Justin Jefferson. Call up the right play. Put the ball in your playmaker's hands and see if you can convert, right? Yeah. I think that's going to be a key to victory is Kevin O'Connell remaining aggressive as a play caller, not just reverting back to this oh, well, we didn't make it happen on 3rd and whatever, so I guess we'll punt it and it's fine. You got to have that Dan Campbell mentality.
Punch him in the face.
Against Dan Campbell. I agree with you too. Another key to victory is going to be that mid-game slump. If we're up 28-0 before halftime on the Lions, pedal to the metal. Keep it going. Do everything that you've been doing. Tell Brian Flores, defense, keep doing it. And then offensively, just keep calling plays. Put it in Jefferson's hands. Put it in Naylor's hands. Put it in Addison's hands. Whoever, find the open guy, get in the end zone, and run it up. Run up the score. Let's see a 52-0 score.
Yeah, and I recognize that's not your prediction for the game.
That's hyperbole.
But yeah, I think back to the magical 2009 season when the Vikings beat the Cowboys in the divisional round, I think, and they beat them. And I think after the game, there was some kind of talk about like from Cowboys players or fans or whatever saying like, yeah, the Vikings could have let up there. Like they really just beat them down. And I think Childress said something like, no, like you're grown men, like stop us. If you're that mad about it, stop us.
Yep.
You don't want us to score on you, stop us. The Vikings, KOC, the thing is the offense and the defense are good enough, and frankly the kicking game too, they're good enough that it's not like they're the 4 foot tall little Napoleon man trying to beat everybody up and being, aggressive for no reason. Like these guys are good enough. They can back it up. Punch them in the face. Like, and I respect the Lions. I respect Dan Campbell. I respect all of them. But like you said, this is professional football. They're going to punch you in the face. So punch them in the face. And maybe this could have a chance to like be a profound game in KOC's career if he can go toe to toe with you could argue the Lions right now are a better team than the Vikings. Like I'm not saying that, but you could definitely argue that.
Not by record, but just by like overall package, who they have, how they've played, who they've played. Yeah.
And aggressiveness. And I think if KOC could take anything from Dan Campbell, learning wise, it would be, who effing cares? Just freaking win. Just punch them in the face and win the game. That's what KOC needs to adapt, and hopefully this game is something he can take it away from.
So prediction time.
Oh man.
Do you think KOC is aggressive enough?
So I've kind of been trying to lay the foundation for this a little bit. Most of the time I've been talking. I've said a handful of times the Vikings are not going to go undefeated. They're going to drop 1, 2, 3, however many games. It's not going to be a perfect season, probably. Oh, it'd be amazing if it could be. But I feel like if they're going to lose a game, it's going to be against a team like the Lions, who are just going to come in and punch the Vikings in the face. So officially, I think I have to brace myself for this more than anything. I think the Lions win, and I think it's going to be something like 31-17, and that's less points than the Lions have scored in the last handful of games, and I think that's a credit. That 31 points defense, hypothetically, is a credit to Flores and the Vikings defense. But yeah, I think we're going to see a slump. I think, not that I'll believe it, but I think this is where people would be clamoring for Darnold to get benched. Again, not that I believe that. I'm still believing in Darnold, but I think this is going to be a tough week for the Vikings.
Do you credit a lot of that to this Aiden Hutchinson, like Lions players are going to be coming out like, let's win this, let's win it for Hutch kind of thing?
Maybe, yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that. I think, and having the bye week, I guess I don't know statistically the last 2 years how KOC has been coming off the bye. I'm afraid. I'm more afraid. I fear that the Vikings are going to be, still relaxing from the bye week. Maybe there's more injuries than we know about. I think the Lions, they're on a hot streak right now. And I think the Vikings it's going to be quick. The Vikings may, they'll be down, 21-0 or something like that, and then fight back for those 17 points. But I think ultimately, the Vikings are they're gonna drop this one.
Well, the Lions have won 3 in a row, and in the last 2, they've put up 89 points. Mm-hmm. So that's a fun stat. I'm gonna disagree with you though.
Please, I would welcome it. I don't want the Vikings to lose.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Talk me off the ledge, Ev.
So, statistically speaking, and let me see if I can pull this up just so I can make sure that I'm accurate here for the sake of the pod.
Yeah.
The Vikings have 2 wins this season with a score of exactly 23-17.
Okay.
So I'm just going to take the odds on that and say the Vikings win 23-17.
All right.
I think it's going to be close.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. Like I said, I think the Lions, even in my prediction, they're going to get up to a big lead, but I think the Vikings will fight their way back in.
I think we'll see a lot of what we saw against the Jets. And right now, as we're watching, the third quarter of the Monday Night Football game between the Jets and the Bills is dwindling down. It's tied right now, 20-20. The Jets aren't a bad football team, and the Vikings were able to hold them off, 23-17. Greg Zuerlein just nicked one off the upright.
Oh, did he miss that one? Dang.
He did. Anyways, I'm going to say 23-17. I'm going to say the Vikings win. I'm going to say that Aiden Hutchinson's absence is notable, and I think the Vikings' health after the bye week is helpful. I think Sam Darnold isn't dealing with whatever he was dealing with, lower body and ribs, the last couple of weeks.
Or at least it's better,
Yeah, Aaron Jones is back to healthy. I don't know that they put him on a pitch count quite yet. And he runs the ball effectively, which helps balance out the offense, and you are able to connect to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, maybe a tight end, because those other guys are drawing so much attention. You find Johnny Munt or Josh Oliver for a touchdown here or there, whatever. I think it's close. I think both teams defensively play really well. I think that Lions defense is going to come out with a chip on its shoulder because they're going to want to play for Aiden Hutchinson and
and they also lost a defensive tackle to a pec tear or pec injury. What's his name? Kyle Pecco? Pecco? What did you say earlier?
He tore his pecco.
And that's horrible. We're terrible people for saying that. But they've got 2 significant injuries on their defensive line, and that could be huge. I hope you're right. I hope the Lions lose. I hope the Vikings find a way to win. It's just I feel like they're teetering a little bit, and I hate the phrase, but they got to get that first win or that first loss out of their system.
Yeah, it would be really unfortunate to watch the Vikings lose and sustain their first loss against a divisional rival because it does mean so much. And yes, I'm not discounting the Lions at all. They're a very well-coached team. Dan Campbell, we've already said, I admire Dan Campbell. Like, man, if I played for him, I would probably run through a brick wall for him. The man is a great football coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get his guys playing well, and they have been playing well. They've won several games in a row now, but they're dealing with some drama. And I don't know. I think the Vikings are the better team, honestly, at this point. I think they're a more well-rounded, complete team. We come back to it all the time. We said it at the beginning. I'll say it again. The defense of this Vikings team is the signature of this team. If that defense keeps playing well, keeps this turnover margin in the positive for the Vikings, more turnovers instead of less, I don't think the Vikings really struggle with the Lions at all.
I would love for you to be right, because I'll be there, and I want it to be the best, and I want to sing Skol Vikings with my kids 1,000 times, and I want it to be awesome. I hope you're right. And if we're getting ice cream up there, we're going to Honey and Mackey's, which apparently is a really fantastic Minneapolis ice cream place. We're doing it. So I hope we get ice cream for a Vikings win. I'm still going to stick with my prediction, 31-17. You said
23-17.
Vikings, right?
Vikings, yes.
Yep. And our preseason picks, which is what determines the purple punishments. For that, we both predicted a Vikings win this week, correct?
Yep.
So If the Vikings end up losing, we'll be spinning the Wheel of Purple Punishments on episode 63. If they win, it'll be another boring purple punishment segment. But I kind of have an idea for that we can talk about offline here.
Well, for the next episode, at the very least, let's hope I'm right.
Yes.
Let's hope you're wrong.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to be wrong.
let's hope the Vikings win, so that way we don't have to spin, and we'll work out the other parts of that segment of our show.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been fun so far, but
oh yeah,
I'm sure we definitely diverge into some different directions later on in the season, and there'll be plenty of wheels to be spun.
I would say